Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Safe Advanced Scrum Master online orientation session. My name is Warren, and I'll be one of the co-hosts along with the director of Agility Academy, none other than Sandeep Rananave. We are very happy to be here, and we are very happy that you are joining in. So, to all who are joining in, welcome. We appreciate the time that you're putting into come here, learn a little bit more about this course. If you can, by all means, just introduce yourself a little bit in the chat group. Tell us where you are from. You're more than welcome to ask us any questions. And obviously, subsequent to this training, there are more than one way, as you can see on the first slide, where you can contact us, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Provide some guidance, and be on the journey. Of your agile transformation learning. So again, welcome. We're very happy to be here. The agenda for today's orientation is pretty much we're going to talk about a little bit about the role of a Scrum Master in SAFe. Why do we need a Scrum Master? Why can't we do things the way we did back in the old days as a traditional project manager? What are some of the anti-patterns? We are trying our level best as much as we can to avoid these anti-patterns. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, you'll have more detail, as you do the course. But today we'll have a summary of it, and we're going to look at how we can improve flow with the use of Kanban and extreme programming. Two pretty interesting topics, two topics that actually, rightfully deserves, a training on its own. But, Scrum Master plays this critical, role in improving flow, not just across the team, but across multiple teams as well, adding value to the overall Agile release trend. So we'll look a little bit about that. And how does a Scrum Master build high-performing teams? How does the Scrum Master play that role of an Agile coach within the team to develop the team so that they can be self-functioning and self-organizing, looking into themselves and improving themselves to become the best that they can be. And also we'll look at how does the Safe Scrum Master contribute to adding value to improve the program's performance. At the end of the day, the Scrum Master, yes, initially looks internally within the team, but the Scrum Master also have an accountability and a responsibility to look outside of the team, to look at the holistic view. Fairly a bit, that we need to squeeze in, to a 30-minute session. But then at the end of it, we will finish it off by talking about next steps. So right now, I'd like to hand it over to Sandeep to start off.
Thanks, Warren. So thank you, everyone. This is Sandeep, based in Melbourne, Australia. As you know, we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you have subscribed to our channel on YouTube, you can watch its recording afterward. If you're following our Facebook or LinkedIn page, you will get notified for these sessions as well. Good to see that few participants have already joined across world. We have got Rashmi. Hi, Rashmi. Thanks for joining from Hyderabad, India. She has got a question. What's the difference between Safe Scrum Master and Scrum Master? And this is exactly what we are going to cover. So Advanced Scrum Master course, which is offered by Scale Agile, and Agility Academy is authorized training and transformation partner. In this, you explore role of a Scrum Master in a safe or Scale Agile enterprise. So when you talk about Safe Scrum Master, you deal with more complexity. I will say that there are different challenges which are faced compared to Scrum Master who work in a normal environment where Agile is only applied at a team level. So when you talk about Scrum Master, as you know, it's a quite important role where you are supposed to guide, lead, mentor, teach, train team on its journey towards Agile. So when you talk about Safe Scrum Master, we are talking about Scrum Master who understand fundamentals of Safe. What are the different competencies of Safe? What are the different actors in Safe? Who are their organizational allies? How they are supposed to work in an Agile release train, which is nothing but a team of teams, where you need to manage those dependencies, you need to organize your work in such a way that you contribute towards the mission, vision of your Agile release train. So if we take example, I will say Scrum Master in a normal environment might be someone who is helping to create a web page, right? His team is just creating a web page. But when you talk about Safe Scrum Master, probably you are looking at one of the component in the entire aeroplane, and you have got several dozens of team who might be contributing towards building that aeroplane. So their complexity is more, challenges are different, and you need to be dealing with a more complexity, more stakeholders in order to help and address that bigger problem. So that's in a nutshell difference between safe scrum master and scrum master. And this particular program which we are talking in today's session is advanced scrum master in safe. So here you are expected to be already aware of a scrum master role. Now if you have senior scrum master who have got 2 to 3 years of industry experience leading agile team, and you want to up your game, then this program is right fit for you. And most of the things which we are going to discuss with you, probably you will correlate if you are already working as a scrum master. So let's dig in. By the way, if you have joined recently, say hi, mention your name, location, and then ask any question, any challenge you might be facing as a scrum master. So in this program, few things which we are going to explore are quite relevant to day-to-day job. So it's not something where you will be introduced towards what is agile, what is scrum, what is safe. It's given that you know at least fundamentals of all those things. Here, focus is more on creating a high performing, effective teams. So what are those elements? What good look like? That is your focus area. So you'll be understanding what are the lean agile competencies when it comes to creating that team or technical agility. It's one of the dimension, is one of the 7 dimension in the safe agile core competencies. So what kind of things required? This program will also help you to visualize work, not to team members, but to people outside of your team. How to create a sustainable pace. Remember, you can, if you want to run a marathon, which is 42 kilometers, you need to have a sustainable pace. You need to have your stamina in place. You can't just run at top speed and then run out of steam after 2 kilometers. That doesn't work. Same thing applies to any agile team. Agile teams are long lasting, persistent teams. They are there till the life cycle of product. It might be 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. So what is required to help create an environment where teams can deliver things predictably at a sustainable pace. Another thing, what kind of things you can do so that your team members can deliver value reliably. So delivering value reliably is quite an important construct. Remember, if anyone is promising autonomy to your team, if anyone is believing in what estimates you are providing, they are expecting a bit of transparency, they are expecting a bit of consistency or predictability in delivering value. So how your teams can meet those promises. Collaborating within team, outside team, when it comes to iteration, sprint goals, or program level goals, has team members who are ready to challenge each other. So psychological safety is another important aspect which help you to create this effective team. So what kind of techniques, tool you can apply so that team members will not feel afraid to challenge each other's idea. They will not feel afraid to share something which might be contradictory to others' opinion. And the last one, but not the least, is produces consistent high quality increment of value. One of the thing of high performing team is that they are performers. Okay, given. So if you look at any sport, whenever you look at any team which is high performing, which is consistently holding world record, they are always delivering whenever there's a crucial moment and consistently. So these are the attributes which you help team to build, and then you ensure that those things are sustainable. Thanks, Zahida, for joining from South Africa, Chandrasekhar from joining from Australia. Good to see you. Please feel free to ask any questions related to Advanced Scrum Master program, or what things are required to lead teams in a complex environment as a senior or advanced Scrum Master. So let's continue our journey. Now, when you talk about Agile and Scrum, there are 3 anti-patterns, broadly speaking. First one, product owner role anti-patterns. So what does it mean? Remember, Scrum Master's primary role is not only to support team. If you go back, Scrum Master is responsible, accountable for the performance of whole team. And when we talk about performance of whole team, it includes product owner. So if you don't have product owner, or if there are multiple people wearing hat of product owner, or if you have got a product owner who never show up, I have been coaching and mentoring certain teams over a period of time, and I have come across certain situations where product owner just appears during planning session, and then you don't see him till showcase. So how to deal with such things? Second one, stories related anti-patterns. So many times you might see that there are stories which are just dragging from one sprint to another sprint, or you got stories which are so big that at the start itself you will not have those stories fit in. So how to deal with those anti-patterns? Context specific environment related anti-patterns. So many times it happens that your team has embarked on the journey, but there are certain players, there are certain people or certain teams who are not at that level. So how to deal with such situations where you might have some manager or leader who is trying to micromanage essentially, or there are people who are coming and disrupting your sprint goal. So how to protect your team, or if your team members are blocked, what kind of things are required? So these are the anti-patterns broadly speaking. If you are even pursuing career as a scrum master and looking for new opportunity, or within your organization if you are applying for a senior role, I reckon this program provide you a lot of tools, techniques, practices and confidence to play that role, because it talks about real world examples. It talks about things with which you need to deal day in day out. Thanks, Amira, for joining from France. I think it might be early morning there. Thank you for joining. Feel free to mention your name, location, and ask any question related to this topic. Now, if you continue this, one of the most important thing which you need to do whenever you are acting as a scrum master, whether it's a well-established team or new team, is identify those anti-patterns. See, if you are complacent, if you believe that whatever has been done is great and there's no scope for improvement, that complacency will kill your team's performance. Okay, so whether you take a Roger Federer or you take Djokovic, these are the icons in tennis world, but they keep performing, keep practicing, keep improving. That's why they were able to be number one throughout their career. Same thing happened to the teams. So as a scrum master or advanced scrum master, it's your role to identify those anti-patterns and help team to go and tackle those. So you need to learn how to recognize those anti-patterns and then how to address those. Now, broadly speaking, you can put those anti-patterns in four different buckets. First one is structural. So you might not have a right structure in place. You might not have right skill set within your team. Or it might happen that you are scrum master, but you know that you don't have a product owner. Or you have got 10 or 5 or 3 product owners, fake product owner I call, not proxy product owner. If you don't have someone who has got authority and ability to manage backlog, then that's a structural problem. It's something which you need to deal heads on. Behavioral one. Behavioral one is where team members don't care if story just drags from one sprint to another sprint, or even if story is too big, we know that it will not fit within a sprint. Still, no one is worried. No one give any thought about it. So that is one of the anti-patterns. So looking at that story size, ideally speaking, if you are following a 2 week sprint, you don't want to have any story which will be more than 3 to 5 story points, assuming you put that into normalized story point estimate, or something 3 to 5 story point takes more, not more than a week or 3 days of effort by the team member. So what kind of do you have those anti-patterns and how you can deal with that? Next one is internal. So you might have team members who are not at all interested in what others are doing. They are just focusing on their bit. So it's not a team, it's a group of individuals, I will say. So if you have a team, then you expect that everyone is ready to chip in, support each other, help each other to tackle those challenges. So do you have pairing, collective ownership? Do you see people collaborating whenever anyone is stuck on stories? And the last one is external. So what kind of relationship this team has got with other teams? Where do you see delay? If something is blocked, something is waiting, does this team take extra mile and go and reach out to them? Or during sprint planning, are you thinking about definition of ready? You might be just picking up work without understanding whether everything is in place. So these are the things which you need to look at. So in this particular safe advanced scrum master program, we provide you some strategy to deal with these specific problems, and how by addressing these problems, anti-patterns, you can help team to move to the next level. I'll tell that many times as a scrum master, you will be dealing with situations for which there are no ready-made answers in any book. And that's why it's important to have someone like Warren, myself, or other Agility Academy expert who can act as a mentor. So one of the things which we do in our program is, beyond this 2 day certification training, you get access to our mentors, and they help you, guide you for whatever time you are ready to engage without any cost. So that's one of the unique things. So you end up doing training, but after that you end up getting mentored throughout your life. So that's something. I reckon there's one question, and the The tech debt with example, is it considered as a story? So we are not going to, Rashmi, explore what type of stories are there, whether it's an enabler story, technical task, or whatnot. At the end of the day, anything which is going to add value, whether it's in short term or long term, is a I will say representation of value. Okay, so it all depends on your organization. In safe, if you ask me, tech debt is treated as an enabler, and that enabler can be at any level. So if you look at the quickly, Warren, if I just explain the taxonomy in safe, you have got an epic which goes across multiple multiple quarters. There are no time box, there is no time box, which is like significant initiative. So your enabler can be something residing at that. So one of the big bank where I did agile coaching, they had multiple enablers who were ranging for several years. So that is your epic. You can have enabler which is impacting one release train, like 5 to 12 teams, agile teams, and require contribution by each of those. So that can be again your feature, enabler feature. Time box for that is 1 quarter maximum. And then you can have enabler stories, which are small changes which are need to be done by one team, can fit within a sprint. So that's how you can look at it. But irrespective of that, product owner, scrum master, you need to ensure that this is something which is top priority and worth investing time in. Right. uh, Perfect. So let's move on. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want, and just mention your name, say hi. We always get encouraged when we see a lot of participants. And subscribe to our channel, like this video, follow us on LinkedIn to stay updated. Warren, do you want to talk about improving flow as a scrum master with Kanban?
Sure. Thank you. So there are many approaches, that you can use to improve flow, and the one that we are going to particularly look at here today is Kanban, and this is something that you will be exposed to the during the training as well. Uh, you will. Why do we use Kanban? Well, a Scrum team generally uses a Scrum board, and the one advantage that they would have, with the Scrum board, is that they can move back and forth as many times as they want, with the actual work that they're trying to do. But what we're trying to do here with the Kanban board is that we're trying to visualize how value flows from start to finish. Okay, we want to minimize the amount of dependencies that can arise between teams, because we want the teams to be able to to actually deliver value by themselves, and if they are lacking something, to actually acquire that that skill set that they have. So why we are using a Kanban board is because then the teams have the ability to start from the initiation of an idea, flowing through the funnel to the analyzing phase, and then once it gets prioritized and approved, move straight into implementation, all the way up to testing and deployment. Okay, we want to empower people, the teams who are actually delivering well, to be in control of the work that they're doing. In fact, Sandeep, if it's okay, just to use a bit of an example, when I was in my previous engagement, I actually told my management, okay, not everything needs to come to you for a go no go decision. Okay, a lot of the things can be decentralized and can sit with the teams. Okay, with a Kanban board, the teams can visualize, with the aid of their Scrum Master, and of course supporting through the product owner, to visualize the way value is flowing from one end to the other, and be in control of what they are doing. This will help actually, even to have collaborations, with other teams, so that they can mitigate any risk dependencies and any issues that might arise by themselves. Now, Kanban itself is, in my opinion, and Sandeep may or may not agree, is a lesson on its own. But Scrum teams, if you can actually do Scrum, then you can actually do Kanban. We will look at a little bit more in detail once we go into the Advanced Scrum Master course itself. There is one other thing that I probably want to touch base here. What's the difference between the basic Scrum Master course and the Advanced Scrum Master course? And in a nutshell, the basic Scrum Master course looks internally, that the Scrum Master works with the team internally. The Advanced Scrum Master course takes one step beyond that and starts to look from inside to out, the wider picture, the bigger picture, the bigger solution. How does the Scrum Master interact? So that is why we are using a Kanban board, because we don't want to just narrow our focus. We want to look at the bigger picture end to end.
Yeah, spot on. And then expectation in many organizations is that if you're joining as an Advanced Scrum Master, you are there to act as a mentor to scrum masters or someone who is new into the scrum master role. So this particular topic, which is explored in Advanced Scrum Master course or program by Agility Academy, talks about how to build a board, Kanban board, for your team. So you start looking at different workflow steps, what need to be done in order to measure progress. So what metrics you need to look at? It might be lead time, cycle time, throughput, how to measure and then optimize
Yes.
your flow by referring certain things like cumulative flow diagram, flow velocity, then flow load, so on and so forth. And other thing which we focus on is by finding out what are those built-in quality practices, engineering craftsmanship practices like collective ownership, pair programming, TDD, BDD. So all those things are quite advanced topics which help you to give extra bang for the buck when you are working in any organization and stand out in the marketplace. Uh, if you have got any questions, feel free to ask those questions, say hi, and mention your name. We are talking about Safe Advanced Scrum Master Program by Agility Academy. All right, so Rashmi looks like it's quite engaged, and I like she is asking so many questions. So please feel to ask questions. Uh, what events are there in Kanban? So probably that's a topic in itself. We have got certified Kanban coach program or today program which we offer. But in a 30 seconds, if I want to address this question, Rashmi, everything which happens in Scrum happens in Kanban except the fact that you don't do any planning upfront. No sprint planning. So you have got daily sync, you might call it anything. You have got prioritization, or you prioritize your backlog as and when it's required, refine that backlog. You pull work only when you have got available capacity. So in the safe context, in the Scrum context, what we are talking is that you have got a ability where people are able to pull that work from sprint backlog, and there's a WIP limit, work in process limit, which creates that artificial pressure or tension within a system wherein you are forced to collaborate and then unblock the system rather than just starting work because you have finished something. uh, Retrospective, showcase, or demo, everything is there. So that's a topic for another day. But in a nutshell, I will say that all those things which you do in Scrum are done except planning, sprint planning, and planning everything well in advance because priorities might change day in day out. So you pull and then you apply WIP limit and visualize everything. All right. So building high performing teams.
Thank you. So one of the things that I'd like to say is, like, and I have learned this in my own studies in SAFE, is that the Scrum Master is probably the best person, to eventually become a release train engineer, and a release train engineer is, the best person to eventually become a solution and train engineer. Why? Because they are all coaches. And that's the first thing that I want to say. As a Scrum Master, whether you're a junior Scrum Master or whether you're a very senior Scrum Master, you are a coach. You are there to guide your teams. Okay. And how do you do this? Because you have to foster collaboration within the teams. Teams naturally won't talk to each other except for the fact they want to joke and waste time. Okay, which is not bad. Sometimes we need to give people that time, right? But what happens when you have to deal with other teams? What happens when you have to go outside a little bit more? Or what happens when teams are stuck? Okay, you need to step in here and you need to foster that collaboration, because teams have the answers. They are knowledge workers, they are the experts, right? It's your job to guide them, to bring out that knowledge so that they are able to answer their questions. You're not there to tell them what to do, you're there to guide them so that they can find their own solution. Also, cross team collaboration is very important. First of all, when it comes to putting teams together, whether it's Scrum or any other type, your teams are going to come from all over from the organization. They could come from business, they could come from operations, they could come from security, they can come from anywhere, right? But at the same time, you're going to have more than one Scrum team. That's the one thing to remember. If you're operating on a safe point of view, you're going to have more than one team. How do we talk to other teams, and how do we get things done? How do we manage and mitigate any dependencies and issues that we can have, which we could easily just talk and get things done, right? So you are going to be fostering that, and facilitating those discussions as well. Trust with stakeholders. At the end of the day, our leadership, our stakeholders, they want to have confidence that whatever our teams are working on, okay, our teams will deliver, right? You are that point of contact. You are that point of contact to your team, so that you can showcase everything that you have, that you're working on. How confident are you as a scrum master that your teams are going to deliver, and building that trust in your stakeholders, so that your scrum teams can easily do things. A part of a scrum master's job, regardless of whichever way you look at it, is to safeguard your teams. That means making sure your teams deliver, but then safeguarding them from external forces is your job. It is something that I have practiced as a religion, as a scrum master in my younger days. Okay, and this is something that you will learn, because if I am training you, I'm going to put that into your head as much as I can, right? T-shaped skills is very important, because at the end of the day, and I use this example, I had a DevOps practitioner, and I had a little bit of a vacuum where I needed a Python developer. But the relationship that I had with this guy was so amazing that he self-taught himself to be a Python developer, and he did the job for me, right? He saw a need, he stepped in, and he upskilled himself. It is very important that a scrum master creates an environment where your teams feel that they need to improve themselves, right? Specialization in one thing, yes. Being a jack of all trades is another thing. So I would recommend that as a scrum master, learning those skills is very, very, very critical, because their success is your success. And finally, build an improvement roadmap. At the end of the day, any improvement has to start somewhere, whether it's as a team or whether it's as the wider agile team itself. Okay, you have to have a roadmap as to how we are going to achieve things. I mean, SAFe has a few basic things that you can start with, like even having a basic iteration goal. What are we going to achieve as part of this particular sprint? Okay, but at the same time, as a team, you need to have a goal as to where you want to go. Guiding your teams to achieve that is what a scrum master does. Okay, I always say this: a scrum master is the very basic building block of being an agile coach. If you want
Yeah,
to become an agile coach like ourselves, it starts with being a scrum master, and we both have been scrum masters in our day. Okay,
yeah,
it's a really rewarding job. I can't say it any other way. You're closer to the work, but now you're dealing more than just dealing with the team. You're looking outside, to the wider organization, how you can improve value. It's a really great job.
yeah. And I just want to add 2 cents. At the end of the day, your success depends on your team's success.
That's right.
So you will never ever see any coach which is hired, whether for a lead or elite athlete or any team, who is get paid if team is not performing, team is not winning, right? So it's in your interest that you build that trust. It's in your interest that you support your teams and help them grow, so that they can become high performing, someone who can be relied on and
Mm.
predictably, consistently deliver value. And for that, you need to up your game. Team, I have seen in my life that many teams are as good as their coach. Many
Yeah.
teams are as good as their scrum master. So if you have got a scrum master who is not capable, probably they might reach that ceiling and not able to grow. So in this particular 2 day safe advanced scrum master program, you are going to learn techniques about how to create that skill metrics, how to
Mm.
support teams to create those T-shaped skills, what kind of strategies you can apply in different rituals like retrospective, sprint planning, backlog refinement, wherein each and every one is involved, and then decisions have been made collaboratively, so that that trust is established within team and with the management. Uh, so if you have got further questions, feel free to ask those questions. Even though we are coming towards the end of this session, I just want to share something. We have got this 2 day advanced Scrum Master program schedule on ongoing basis. There are weekend and weekday batches. We have got special ongoing support for those who are self-funding. We know that right now economic condition across world is not that great. There are a lot of people who are impacted, and some people are looking for new role or in between jobs. So we do provide some assistance as much as possible. Feel free to reach out to us on WhatsApp at +61 451 811 164. If you are based in US, you can call us on US phone number. We also got a UK phone number for those who are based in UK or Europe. Or simply drop us an email at team@agilityacademy.com.au. You can scan QR code and then download brochure, watch video, and yeah, just come and join us in our next Safe Advanced Scrum Master course. If not, feel free to reach out to us. We are on LinkedIn. Our names are unique. So you can easily find us, and we are more than happy to help you. So at the end of the day, if this is your passion, if this is something which is giving you, a sense of achievement, then you need to pursue your passion. So do self Advanced Scrum Master course and understand what else you need to do. All right, that's it for now. Thank you so much, and see you next Tuesday. Thanks, Warren. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.